From the intense sibling rivalry between Jamie and Beth, to Rip and Walker never seeing eye to eye, these are Yellowstone's most divisive feuds. Even though the Duttons are all about protecting their ranch and their family, sibling rivalry like the one between Jamie and Beth becomes very intense. If you're hooked on Yellowstone, then you totally get how bonkers Beth and Jamie's relationship is. You see, Jamie's always been the odd one out in the Dutton family. Not exactly your typical cowboy like the rest of them, but more of a clean-cut lawyer type, and turns out he's adopted. Poor guy's been grappling with that and struggling to win his family's approval. As for Jamie and Beth's bond, oh man, it's a roller coaster. He took her to an abortion clinic ages ago, and it ended up sterilizing her, leaving her unable to have kids. These two clearly don't see eye to eye, especially when Jamie went on a wild goose chase to find his biological father. He even cut ties with the Dutton name for a while. But you know what they say, once you're tied to the Duttons, there's no escape. Then, things went from messy to crazier when Beth basically strong-armed Jamie into killing his own biological dad. Yeah, the same guy causing trouble for the Duttons. Season 3 ended with a bang, and Season 4 kicked off with a bang, thanks to all this drama. But the drama also comes in other forms, guys, even when it has to do with cattle. Robert Long and the Duttons were at each other's throats after they both tried to one-up the other. John's like a wild cowboy, always standing his ground and fiercely protecting what's rightfully his. The whole drama kicks off in the series premiere, which they aptly call Daybreak. His ranch has these precious cattle, and those sneaky folks from the Broken Rock Indian Reservation think it's a good idea to snatch them away. But not on John's watch. He's not having any of that nonsense. So, he ropes in his oldest son, Lee, and together, under the cover of darkness, they plan a daring mission to rescue their cattle. Now, Robert Long, Monica's brother, has a grudge against the Duttons. He's leading a gang of troublemakers trying to block John's heroic rescue operation. And just when things are getting super intense, John spots his youngest son, Casey, on the other side. It's like a classic cowboy showdown, but family style. John starts calling off the whole thing to protect his family. But before anyone knows what's happening, Robert goes full-on rogue and shoots poor Lee dead. It's a heart-stopping moment, and the whole scene turns into a real-life Wild West showdown. In the blink of an eye, Casey's got no time for hesitation, and boom. He avenges his brother by taking down Robert in a fiery exchange of bullets. But if a brawl is what you're looking for in Yellowstone, then Rip's the guy you should watch out for. His feud with Fred Myers was more than enough proof of that. Fred Myers, the loud-mouthed ranch hand, was like a tornado of bullying, and poor old Jimmy becomes his favorite target from day one. But in this epic tale, it all goes down in Season 1's episode called The Long Black Train. Jimmy's had enough of Fred's nonsense, so he decides to stand up to the big guy. Now, get this. Jimmy's brave, but Fred's like a giant compared to him, and he gives Jimmy a serious pounding. But here comes the hero of our story. Rip ain't having any of this bully business. He's like a cowboy avenger, and he can't stand to see his fellow ranch hands mistreated. Rip and John, the big bosses, get together and decide that Fred's gotta hit the dusty trail. For good. So, what do? They arrange for a one-way ticket to the train station for Fred. You know, the kind of train station where folks disappear without a trace. You can make people disappear, sure, but if you're thinking the same about the Duttons ranch, then no sir. The Becks will tell you to steer clear of the Duttons and their ranch. The Duttons fiercely guard their precious land against all sorts of baddies. In Season 2, enter the Beck brothers, the sneakiest, scheming villains you can imagine. These guys are seriously unhappy about the competition they face from Thomas Rainwater and Dan Jenkins. Rainwater's got the Broken Rock Reservation, and Jenkins is a hotshot real estate developer eyeing Paradise Valley. They're teaming up to build a casino, putting a wrench in the Beck brothers' greedy plan to snatch up the Dutton Ranch and the Broken Rock Indian Reservation for themselves. Oh, but the Beck brothers aren't the kind to back down easily. Nope, they're stone-cold killers who do anything, I mean anything, to get what they want. But they push things way too far, and the Duttons aren't about to take that lying down. With a thirst for revenge, the Beck brothers launch a relentless attack on the Dutton family. They go after Beth and Tate. In a shocking turn of events, the Beck brothers send two masked goons to attack Beth right in her own office. It's a total ambush. Those ruthless attackers even take out her assistant. But hold on, here comes the cavalry. Rip swoops in like a cowboy hero, just in time to save the day. And Beth's life. Beth and Rip aren't ones to back down from a fight, and they show those attackers who's boss. They take them out one by one in a fierce battle that'll leave you on the edge of your seat. And you'll be even surprised to see the Duttons protecting their ranch against the Native Americans. The show's got a rare gem you don't often see on TV. Strong Native American characters, man. So, it all revolves around John Dutton and his crazy, messed up family. He's the 6th generation boss of the biggest ranch in the whole dang USA. But hold up, before the Duttons took over, there were these Native Americans who owned the land in Montana, and they're not about to let it go without a fight. And leading the charge for the Broken Rock Indian Reservation is Chief Thomas Rainwater. This guy's got brains and style. He even rocked it on Wall Street before taking charge of his tribe. Rainwater's got one mission: get back that land from the Duttons no matter what it takes. He may not have succeeded just yet, but Rainwater's no pushover. He's given those land developers a real run for their money, outsmarting them left and right. And you know what's even cooler? He's had to outmaneuver some of his own tribe members who were all out to take him down. And coming back to our rough and tough cowboy, Rip. His feud with the drug dealers was also one for the books. Turns out, poor Jimmy's grandpa, Dirk, met a tragic end because of those nasty drug dealers Ray and Blake. I mean, those two were asking for trouble. But Rip finds out about the whole mess. And you know what he does? He assembles a squad consisting of Jimmy, Lloyd, Casey, and Ryan, all set for some revenge action. So, in this epic episode called Enemies by Monday, these fearless dudes decide to blow up the shady drug dealer's trailer home. Yeah, that's right. They're taking justice into their own hands, avenging Jimmy's grandpa in the coolest way possible. Now, Jimmy's officially part of the crew, and let me tell you, there's no limit to what Rip and Lloyd would do for him. It's like one big family, and they've got each other's backs no matter what. But while Rip has people backing him up, there are also others that he doesn't exactly see eye to eye with. Case in point, his relationship with Walker. Let me give you the lowdown on Rip and Walker's roller coaster relationship in Yellowstone. These two dudes start off on the wrong foot because they have totally different ideas about trust. For Rip, it means obeying orders without question, while Walker just wants to do some ranch work and keep his head down. But there's a major misunderstanding right from the get-go. Walker has no clue about his role on the ranch, and that confusion becomes a major theme in the series: trust and what it really means. The ranch's confidence in Walker changes over time, and Walker's and his fellow ranch hands goes up and down throughout the show. Those ranch hands have to earn John and Rip's faith, but they're also expected to trust the ranch blindly. But Walker's hesitant to give it away, and that becomes a liability. This puts him and Rip in a constant headbutting situation, because Rip is used to folks trusting him no matter what. So when Walker doesn't fall in line, it's like a red flag for Rip. Now, Walker's got his own agenda too. He's trying to turn his life around after prison, and the last thing he wants is to end up back there. But Rip just doesn't get it. He sees Walker as someone he can exploit, someone who'll do anything under the threat of going back to jail. But instead of getting a tough, dirty deeds cowboy, Rip ends up with a singing cowboy who wants no part in their illegal shenanigans. And that sets them on a collision course from the very beginning of Yellowstone. So, there you have it, guys. From Rip and Walker never seeing eye to eye, to the intense sibling rivalry between Jamie and Beth. Those were Yellowstone's most divisive feuds.